I went down to Washington, D.C. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Woo! I went down to Congress. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. Oh, Lord. I went down to Washington, D.C. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. I went down to state capitals. I took back what they stole from me. Look here. Every state in the nation, every state in the nation, woo, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. No, no, no. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. No, 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 no. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is not our usual stream. It's not our usual stream time. It's not our usual stream topic. But I have never pretended to be apolitical. And I'm not gonna start now because at the end of the day, the fact that I am disabled, the fact that I'm queer, the fact that I exist right here means there is no getting around what we're talking about today. And I'm going to start by saying that today, if you are unaware, is the day of the No Kings protests. There are about 2,000 of them across the United States. If you have the ability to go to the No Kings protest in person and are willing to risk getting arrested, because let's be honest here, that is a danger. That is something that's going to happen, but we need to not let fear stop us. However, there are those who cannot literally afford to have that happen. But if you can, please go to the protests. For those of you who cannot go to the protests, do not want to go to the protests, or do not even understand what is happening, this is your stream. This is the video for you. Because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why the protests need to happen. We're going to talk about basically the state of the union, and we're going to talk about, I have a message as well to those of us, to those service members. I have a message to those who think this does not, and what's going on does not apply to you. And I have not only information on how to protest and how to protest safely, but also for those who cannot protest like myself, ways that you can get involved, because the protest is just the beginning. The protest gets us out there, physically shows our numbers, but it is not the end. But I want to start today with what I think is a very poignant poem. And hi Alto, I see you over there. I do ask too that for those of you who are on Twitch, I'm sure you've noticed that a lot of the redeems are gone. I'll be bringing those back up next stream. I ask that you don't turn on any, that you don't use any of the sound alerts. Today is not going to be a fun haha stream. Today is not going to include any gaming. We are sitting, we are talking, we are discussing today about politics. It's labeled politics for a reason today. But I want to start off with a poem by Pastor Martin Niemöller. I hope I said that correctly. That is very poignant. Thank you for the hydrate fire. I appreciate that. I'm gonna need it because I'm gonna be talking a lot. But the poem goes as such. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. This poem was created on the back of World War II. And it shows, I think it demonstrates exactly why we need to be speaking out. All of us need to be speaking out about what's going on. It doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or not. It doesn't matter if you're LGBTQ or not. It doesn't matter if you are trans or not. We have seen this before, over and over and over again in the annals of history. Fascist regimes, dictatorships, like the one that is currently happening in the United States, and yes, it is a dictatorship. It is a baby one, but it is a dictatorship. They start with the vulnerable. They go after small populations that they can easily exploit, turn them into scapegoats, and it is a test. The immigrants, going after the immigrants, mass deportations, these are tests to see what we will take and what we won't. It's going to get worse if we do not make a stand, and this poem outlines that perfectly. You grab a cough drop. Yeah, I have a cough drop. But, and I speak about this as a Jew. I've made it no mystery, no secret on this channel that I'm Jewish. And, you know, when I first learned about the Holocaust, when I first learned about World War II, I started getting nightmares as a child, as an elementary school student. I would be in the playground of my elementary school, and one of my classmates in my nightmare would point and say, "There they are. There's the Jew." And the Nazis would come for me, and they would come for my brother, they would come for my family. And no one in my elementary school would stop them as we were dragged away and taken to the gas chambers. These were nightmares that I had a lot as a kid, nightmares that I still have to this day as an adult, because it's happened before. It's what happened to my family. You know, the history of my family is that we came over from Poland. My great-grandfather saw what was happening in Germany and knew what would happen if Hitler took hold and spread, and he got his family out, his immediate family out, and brought us over to the United States during World War II. Before, the beginning of World War II is the beginning of World War II, before the Nazis took over Poland. And I can only assume that every member that remained in Poland has been lost. But a question that I would always ask myself, ever since I learned about that, was, what would I have done in 1940s Germany? How would I have reacted? What would have happened to me if I had been living during that time? And well, the answer is kind of obvious. I'm a Jew. I would have been in the walls like Anne Frank. I would have been on the trains sent away. I would have been taken like cattle to a prison, a death camp. And I would have most likely died. And then I asked myself the follow-up question: what would I have done if I was in Germany in the 1940s and I was a German and not a Jew? And having the hindsight of history, knowing what happened, the atrocities that occurred, I would like to have thought, you know, as I was growing up, I always thought, you know, I would have liked to have thought that I wouldn't have fallen for the Nazis, that I wouldn't have fallen for their propaganda, that I wouldn't have been one of the ones who voted Hitler into power. I wouldn't have stood there and been part of the German youth, or if I was sent against my will, I wouldn't have fallen for their lies, that I would have been there alongside those who fought to get Jewish children out, smuggled them in suitcases so that they could live, or at least spoken out. Well, I hate to say it, but I have my answer now. I'm too disabled to go out and physically protest. It is too dangerous because the flashbangs will trigger a seizure. We have seen, just as of yesterday, an old man with a rollator get arrested. They put him in handcuffs behind his back and they took his rollator away. So even my rollator would not protect me. I don't have the ability physically to safely go out and protest. I have medication that I need to take on time, twice a day, every day. And if I'd been arrested, I would not be able to take my medication. So this is what I'm doing. This is my stand. This is my protest. I am going and using what little platform I have to stand up. I'm talking to y'all. I am spreading the word around the world, making sure that voices are heard, even from this small little crack in the tiny corner. We will not be quiet. We will stand, we will fight, and we will win, because it is not over. The dictator is sitting on his gilded throne, but all thrones can be toppled. And this is how I fight back. This is what I'm doing. And I want to, like I said, a lot of people are out there now. There are 2,000 protests in the US going on right now, so those who already know why you need to protest are already out. Or those who have the capability to protest are already out there. And so this stream is for those who don't think we need to protest. This stream is for those who don't know why we need to protest. This stream is for those who cannot go out and protest. And this stream is for the service members who are standing on the other side, and not by choice, but because they were ordered to. And I have a message for them later on. But what is happening right now? So let's start right there. What is happening right now? Because when Donald Trump was elected, democracy failed. Because this man is a dictator. He said it before. He legitimately said it on the campaign trail. I will be a dictator on day one. And that was what he has been from the moment he got into the office. He has been a dictator. But here's the thing. It's a very tiny dictatorship. This is a baby dictatorship. This is when a dictatorship is at its most vulnerable. Now is when a dictatorship is easiest to topple, is easiest to return to democracy. And that is why it's also so important now to get our voices out, to get out there, or to call your representatives. This is why we have to fight now. Because it's weak and it knows it. And this is not just Trump. Trump is the face. Trump is the leader of this cult of personality, but it is not just him. He is the linchpin. He's the reason it's managed to get this far, but it's not just him. Every Republican, every member on his cabinet, every oligarch and rich man who feeds his pockets and lines them with cash so that he can keep going, it is all of them together. And we hold them all accountable equally. So it's not just Trump. We cannot just say, oh, it's Trump's fault. It is the Republicans' fault. It is Musk's fault. It is the CEO of Google and Twitch and all those rich men who back him. It is all of them. And this is something we must remember. They are all here. And they are all culpable. And together, they have thrown not just our economy, the world economy into chaos with their tariffs. Trump and the Republicans, since the day he joined office, have pardoned hundreds of violent criminals, sex offenders. People go and pay for this. They give him money and he pardons them. The man who ran the black market, the biggest black market on the dark web, was punished and was convicted. He was sent to jail, and then Trump and the Republicans pardoned him, only for him to then turn around and murder two people. Trump has fired career civil servants whose job it is to protect our country, people in healthcare, people in the post office, people who watchdogs, who prevent giant corporations and CEOs from taking advantage of workers and customers and consumers. They've fired them. Trump started yet another trade war. We can't forget the fact that Trump and the Republicans started a trade war in the first term. They've started another one, and Trump actually does not have the power to put tariffs up, and yet he is, by claiming wartime privileges in a war that does not exist. And he put Elon Musk in charge, someone who was not elected, took a already existing government entity that was in charge of protecting us on the internet and remade it wholesale, because Trump doesn't have the power to make a new government body. That's supposed to be Congress, but so he just renamed it to Doge, put Musk in charge, and Musk claimed to have saved the United States $16 million, only to have spent $135 million doing that. Firing Musk and the Doge crew basically became a second president. He got rid of every single one of the investigations into his companies. Gee, howdy, I wonder if there is a conflict of interest right there. Huh, you'd think, you maybe? Potentially conflict of interest, just a little bit. And he also, once more, firing people. RFK Jr. was put in charge of the CDC, and they asked him, are you going to be anti-vax? He said no. What has he done? Fired everyone in charge of creating the flu vaccines, prevented the CDC from talking to the people And I need to point this out is that since like the CDC is no longer allowed to talk, and the NHS, the National Health Services, is no longer allowed to talk to the press. And since the beginning of the year, there have been massive numbers of outbreaks of disease that we have not been warned about. The only way the CDC can tell us about this is to put it on their website. I looked it up in June. We had an outbreak of salmonella in eggs. In May, salmonella in cucumbers. In in March. And June, July, January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, okay, I put down May. I think it's in May. May, salmonella in cucumbers. May, as well as in listeria. And in March, we had an outbreak of dengue fever, and there were more COVID outbreaks. The measles outbreaks has continued. As of when I was researching this, there were 1,168 cases in the United States. Every person that Trump has put in charge of a different organization is specifically there to destroy the organization they are meant to run. The Trump and the Republicans are refusing to listen to court orders. Trump himself is a convicted felon, has been convicted of raping people, and he blatantly says that he doesn't even know if he's supposed to follow the Constitution. He has been given a plane from Qatar, which is an obvious bribe, his cryptocurrency scam, in which he put out a chance for where he told people, hey, go buy my cryptocurrency and you will have a chance to come talk to me. And that allowed people to anonymously give him millions of dollars. So that they had a chance to meet him. That is a chance for foreign governments to talk to him privately in a way that we cannot track. He is spent, in the first 100 days, he spent 12 of his 14 weeks on his own properties as opposed to the White House, which is why I again say it is not just Trump, it's the Republicans, because while Trump is out of the White House, the Republicans who are in charge of Project 2025 are there dismantling our government and dismantling our social safety networks. And out of the first 100 days, 40 of them were spent at Mar-a-Lago, where Trump golfed. And by the way, those golfing trips cost US taxpayers $26 million. And if you're asking where I'm getting this information, it's NBC. I have sources. Trump has targeted law firms, the arts, schools, and the free press. He has defunded PBS, which is designed, an entire channel designed to give information and education to the United States people for free. He has suspended habeas corpus and due process to immigrants that he has kidnapped. I'm going to point this out, kidnapped and sent to torture prisons for them to die. This is not anything, none of this is hyperbole. None of it. The man is speedrunning a dictatorship. And this is why it is important it is incredibly important to stand up today. And I'm also, if none of that has convinced you, I'm also going to go into authoritarianism and how to spot it. We're going to have a little authoritarianism lesson, and I would like to bring all of you over with me to the computer so that we can look at this, because part of today is about teaching. This is what I do, is I teach a little bit. So I'm going to make sure we're on the correct tab. We are. So welcome to How to Spot Authoritarianism. Know it when you see it. All right? So authoritarianism is a constellation of traits in a political, economic, or social system, which often includes a concentration of powers in the hands of a small group of people who act in ways that are not constitutionally accountable to the people they are meant to represent and serve. They include a concentrated effort by a network of organizations and institutions to legitimize an oppressive system by providing it legal and political support. Oh God, what happened? Oh, it disappeared. Oh, there it is. It did. I was trying to move it over so I could read it better, and then it did a little thingy. Anyways, point is, by providing it legal and political support and materials and resources and human resources to maintain control. So what are they doing? They're just... Doge is a fantastic example of this. Trump creating Doge to maintain control. Trump and the Republicans using the militia to squash down protests that are peaceful. Trump and the Republicans claiming the entire border is a military zone and kidnapping people. Authoritarianism is a system that is willing to engage in a spectrum of undemocratic practices, from corruption and sowing lies and conspiracy theories to using fear and violence in order to manipulate, divide people, and maintain power. Again, you can look at this. This is more Doge. This is kidnapping people on the streets. This is arresting protesters. This is sending military factions. He deployed 700 of military members in the United States against the United people, the United States civilians in LA. 700 Marines sent after our own people. It is the misuse of power of the state to advance the personal and partisan desires of the head of state or the ruling clique. I don't think I have to outline that. I already gave you examples. It often emerges legally by democratically elected leaders who subvert democratic norms and institutions to stay in power. Again, I don't know why I said we. I did not elect him, but he was elected. Duly elected. I'm not going to try and claim that, the election wasn't fair or that the election was rigged. I mean, I do think it was rigged, just not in the way the Republicans said the last election for Joe Biden was rigged. It was rigged in that since Joe Biden was elected, actually for not even since Joe Biden was elected, even before Obama was elected, the Republicans have been gerrymandering state lines so that they can maintain power in areas where there are actually more votes for the Democrats over votes for the Republicans, and thus where they normally would have lost, they do not. So, as well as using some of those anti-voting bills where you have to show up in person with a ID. A lot of people don't have an ID on them. A lot of people, like myself, can't stand in lines. They've been closing polling locations so that it forces a greater number of people into smaller areas so that you have to wait in line all day long, and some people can't leave their jobs on voting day. And that allowed them to maintain more power by getting rid of, as well, in election by ballots or early voting, because statistically Democrats vote early or vote by ballot, whereas Republicans vote in person. So if the election was stolen, it was stolen in that way, but he was still elected and has now seized control. Him and the Republicans. But authoritarianism is a slow and quiet advance over a period of years where small battles weaken the foundations of democracy, which culminate in a period of rapid democratic losses and decline. Gee, exactly what I just outlined with the voting thing. What it is not: a single individual or few individuals, their character, or presumed lack of morals. Authoritarianism is not a partisan policy position that you find disagreeable, and it is not red, blue, left, or right phenomenon. It is a party or ideology. Any party or ideology is susceptible. This is true. Just so happens that the one in the United States is right-leaning and is red. But it is the Republicans are a party of fascists now. They're fascists. They're just straight up fascists and authoritarian. So the core attributes of an authoritarian regime are rejecting democratic rules of the game. Like when Trump ignores the powers of Congress so that he can just, I don't know, use presidential orders, executive orders to do whatever the frick he wants, by getting rid of habeas corpus and due process, by saying he's going to run for a third term when you cannot run for a third term, is denying the legitimacy of opponents. Gee, I don't know, maybe like how he and the Republicans denied the fact that Biden won the election in 2020. It is tolerating or encouraging political violence. Again, Trump has said that over and over again. There are so many examples, like when he said if a protester, if one of the protesters on his side gets arrested, he'll bail them out. It is when we had an actual insurrection on January 6th and he pardoned all of them. It's curtailing the civil liberties of opponents, which we saw with Anthony Padilla, who was just trying to ask a question and got detained by the FBI. They knew who he was. In the video, he announces his name. He says, I am Anthony Padilla. I am a representative. He says who he is. An authoritarian core attribute of authoritarianism, breaking down social cohesion to divide and rule a society. And what are the top 10 elements of the authoritarian playbook? It's to divide and rule, to foment mistrust and fear in the population. And this is something that we need to keep in mind, because many of those who voted Republican, many of those who voted for Trump, it's the economy. The economy was not doing well, or a lot of the Republicans were also screaming that the economy was not doing well. It was actually seeing improvements under Biden, but Fox News and OAN and all of them kept saying, no, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. And so by pushing that, a lot of the Republicans just want a better, many who voted for Trump are regretting it now. Yeah, South, many are regretting it because, gee, I think this is what happens when you vote for the leopards who eat people's faces party. They gonna eat your face. But we have to remember that a lot of those, a large number who voted for Trump and who voted for the Republicans were told by Donald Trump and the Republicans, everything is awful, the economy is awful, and the only ones who can fix it are us. And they divided the country. So we have to remember that. And part of it, too, is that they were spreading lies and conspiracies, which is number 2 in the playbook, to undermine the public's belief in truth. Fake news. How many times have they screamed, fake news, fake news, fake news? Every time they do something awful, oh, fake news. And when one of the excuses that they gave for January 6th was, this got moved. Anyways, one of the excuses they gave for January 6th was that, oh, it was Antifa. That wasn't any of our people. That was Antifa. By the way, Antifa isn't an organization. It's not an organization. Antifa just stands for anti-fascist. There's no one in charge. But destroy checks and balances, quietly use legal and pseudo-legal rationales to gut institutions, weaken opponents, and or declare national emergencies to seize unconstitutional power. What was the first thing Trump did when he got into office? He claimed wartime powers. So he demonized opponents and independent media, undermined the public's trust in those actors and institutions that holds the state accountable. Again, anyone who didn't call the Gulf of Mexico, and it is the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, like the Associated Press, was immediately kicked out of the White House press corps. And once more, the dismantling of PBS and NPR. So undermine civil and political rights for the unaligned, actively suppress free speech, the right to assembly and protest, and the rights of women and minority groups. We have the pro-life movement forcing women to give birth. We have trans people being legislated out of existence, claiming, by the way, that stunt that Trump and the Republicans pulled where they officially made it that the definition of a man and a woman, the legal definitions that they decided to go with, actually mean that everybody is non-binary, because exactly nobody fits those definitions, which is kind of hilarious but also awful. But they blame minorities, immigrants, and outsiders for the country's problem, exploit national humiliation while promising to restore national glory. Make America great again. It's all the immigrants who are sneaking into this country illegally. The talking points of the Republicans. None of this is true. That's not the case. And in fact, this is a country of immigrants. The backbone of our country are immigrants. If we're going to get rid of immigrants, literally everyone who's not Native American needs to get up and leave. So it rewards loyalists and punishes defectors, make in-group members fearful of dissension. I do actually need to explain that, but you know, Elon, look what's been happening with Elon Musk. Elon Musk gave him like mountains and mountains of money, and he put Elon Musk in charge of Doge and gave Elon Musk a position of power that allowed Elon Musk to get rid of all of the investigations into his company. And then as soon as they got upset, they started putting, they had a public breakup fight where they're now dissing one another. And Trump threatened Elon Musk that if Musk puts any money behind a Democrat, Trump said that Musk will quote unquote regret it. Talk about mafia tactics. Sheesh. They encourage, condone violence in advance of political goals, dehumanize opposition and or out groups to justify violence against them. How many times has Trump said that immigrants are animals? Trump literally called people who dislike him, he's called them homegrowns, and there is Trump derangement syndrome that the Republicans are trying to push through, where it is supposed to be a medical condition classified by you do not like Trump. And they're trying to make that a mental health condition. So another one, number 9, organize mass rallies to keep supporters mobilized against made-up threats, use fear-mongering and hate speech to consolidate an in-group identity and solidarity. Today, that stupid military parade. That's what that is. It's that stupid military parade. And then 10, make people feel like they're powerless to change things. Solutions will only come from the top. This is wrong. We can change it. The protests across the nation are showing that, and we can continue to change it. And the day we give up is the day the day they win is the day we give up. We must continue to push back and fight. And here is how you can do that to push back. This is why I pulled this up. So, form large, diverse, cross-partisan, and cross-ideological pro-democracy fronts or movements with a shared vision, strategy, and clear, concrete demands. That is today. That is the No Kings rallies. That is this stream, and we will continue to do that. But we build the capacity for pro-democracy coalitions and movements to manage constructive tensions, center relationships, and prioritize large collective goals. We can train pro-democracy coalitions and movements in non-violent discipline and violence de-escalation in the face of authoritarian violence. This is really important because the National Guard being sent out into LA was specifically to try and incite violence, and kudos to those in LA. They did not rise to that. They continued to be non-violent. And I hope to God's all the protesters remain non-violent today. But we invest in opportunities for inter and intra-group dialogue. That's what I'm doing. I'm opening, well, actually, currently I'm just on a soapbox, but I do invite y'all to talk in the chat and to discuss things. Connected to a collective action to break down assumptions, develop empathy and understanding, and build trust at the grassroots by working together to combat authoritarian practices. So we diversify the range of nonviolent tactic methods, including protests, rallies, and sit-ins, and methods of disruption, walkouts, stayaways, consumer boycotts, and labor strikes. Not doing what the authoritarians want or expect. And that's actually going to come in later with my message to the service members. But we engage members of the key organizations, so pillars like religious institutions, which, like, I saw this morning. The Pope actually, I guess, brought some guy up to made someone an American bishop, and he's organizing priests to go with immigrants to their courthouse check-ins, because once a year immigrants have to go in and check in with the courts, and that's when ICE has been scooping them up. And so he's sending priests to go with them and help protect them. But so, religious institutions, business groups, unions, professional associations, bureaucracies, media institutions, and security forces, and pro-democracy mobilizations, and to provide pathways for individuals with key pillars that morally and materially support the authoritarian system to join the pro-democracy cause. And so like I said, we are under an authoritarian regime, but it is not over. We are not done. We have ways to fight back and ways to keep going. And unfortunately, Project 2025 is still continuing on. For those of you who are not aware, Project 2025 is the project that actually started, I think it started under Nixon, where it is the goal to basically dismantle the whole government. And this tracker, Project 2025 .observer, is a tracker that shows the overall progress of how that has been doing. It shows what each, basically everything that the objectives of Project 2025 and how far they've managed to come along in completing those objectives. So cut the budget of USAID, rescind USAID policies that address climate change and help countries transition away from fossil fuels, prevent funding from sexual, reproductive, and health and reproductive rights and gender equality programs. So what's up? Hey, it's the Advent. We're talking about, like I said, we're doing our No Kings protests. So we're talking about currently Project 2025. Let's see. I want to go back to the tracker. But we have so these are all the things that they have completed. They're about 42% of the way through everything that they want to do. So, like, one of the things that they want to do is they want to got Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So that's one of the things they're also working on. And that's in that quote-unquote big, beautiful bill, is to get rid of all of that. But, which is, once more, why it is so important to stand up, to protest, and to get out there. And to fight all the rampant corruption that's occurring. And for those of you who are international and who are not part of the US, I ask that you keep an eye out for this same thing happening in your homes, in your country, because this is not just unique to the United States. This is something that is occurring around the world. So we need to keep, watch what's happening in the US and keep an eye out for the first signs of it in your own country. And we're going to go back to just chatting so that I can, because this is the part of the stream where I have, like I said, I have a message for the service members, and then I have what y'all can do. Because I don't want to be like super downhearted. I know a lot of the things that I have said have been really big bummers because they really, really super are. But I want to tell y'all how y'all can fight back, how y'all can take a stand, because the authoritarian regimes are relying on you being too sad, too downcast, too scared to stand up. And I want to tell everyone how they can do that, whether it be from home or in person. But first, I want to talk to the service members. So we're going to go over there and do that. So, to the service members who are out there, Donald Trump and the Republicans have put y'all in a very, very horrific position. And it is unfair what you are being asked to do, because there's no right answer. And speaking as someone who comes from a military family, I want to remind y'all of your oaths. Law enforcement, military, you took an oath to the Constitution, not a party, not a person, to the Constitution. And as part of your oath, you cannot follow illegal orders. And I know a lot of you are, or are being asked to follow illegal orders. And I want to cast everyone back to World War II again, after it, specifically during the Nuremberg trials, where many of the officers the Nazis who were put on trial for what they did during World War II said they were simply following orders. Specifically, the most famous of them being Adolf Eichmann. He was a part of the Wannsee Conference, where the leadership of the Nazi Party voted to implement the final solution to the Jewish question, which was the start of the Holocaust, and where they decided to kill all the Jews in Germany. And Adolf personally oversaw the deportations and deaths of 437,000 Jews in Hungary alone. Most of them were sent to Auschwitz, where 75% of them were murdered upon arrival. The rest were subject to torture and working to death. Some of them survived, but only because the Allied forces freed the camp. And at his trial, he said, like many of the other Nazi soldiers, that he was simply following orders. And it was described, what he and his fellow soldiers did, as the banality of evil. It's one of the reasons why, as part of the oaths that service members take to not follow illegal orders, is so important. You're not just soldiers. You have minds, you're people. And you took an oath to follow the Constitution. And now a lot of you are being asked to do illegal things because the dictator said so. And you need to make a choice. What point is too much? When do you cross the line from doing your job to joining Eichmann and his banality of evil? And unfortunately, you're looking at harming a lot of people versus harming yourself and your loved ones. If you don't follow these orders that are illegal, most likely you'll get a dishonorable discharge. And that comes with a lot of nasty consequences in its own. And I want y'all to also once more cast back to those German soldiers. Not Eichmann and his lot who were higher up, but the foot soldiers who survived. The guards. Those who carted Jews away and took them from their homes. Children from holes in walls to put onto trains. There was, at the end of World War II, when Germany was liberated, there was a rash of suicides among the common foot soldiers in Germany, because many of them could not live with what they had done. And once more, I beg of you, remember your oaths. Because while we, the common people, have power, those who are in the military have even more. Because a dictatorship lives and dies by the support of the military. If the military does not back them, they have no chance. They cannot get that foothold. When you are given an illegal order, please remember your oath. So for those of us, though, who are the more common people, those of us who are not in the military, what can we do? Well, the first one is protests. The first big one is protests. And I want to show you what can happen when you protest. I want to show you the power that even only a small number of people have, because there is a lot of power here. This occurred in, we're going to go back to the computer. This occurred in San Diego a few days ago, actually almost 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry about that. I'm also watching my own stream, so I've got that player going on. And I want you to pay attention to this, where a group of ICE members came in. They came into a neighborhood. And this is how the neighborhood reacted. Now, I would like to point out, none of the members of this community are armed. They have cameras, but they have nothing, no guns, not even umbrellas, whereas ICE itself is armed. And they are driving ICE out through the power of their voice and through the power of coming together as a community. And this is what we can do. Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Anyone who is a part of ICE, I have no sympathy for you. And there's something that I want to point out here too. Something that is very scary. As this van right here, this is the van that they would take people away in. and there is no license plate. It is a white panel van with no license plate. And that's not just on the front either. I'm going to pause it when it goes to the back, because once more, there is no license plate. This is a completely unmarked vehicle. This is what ICE is doing. They are taking people in unmarked vehicles where we have no way of tracking them, and they are doing it without due process. Already, several individuals, several citizens of the United States, many of which are children, some had cancer, and were deported. And this, if they do that to the immigrants, they will do that to us. Trump has already said he wants another prison in Venezuela built for the quote unquote homegrowns. They are kidnapping people and preventing us from tracking them. But as you can see, it's a group of citizens driving ICE out of the community with the power of their words. And this is why we protest, because this is what we can do. I want everyone to remember that. So if you can protest, what I want you to do is is the No Kings protest that came up it's only the No Kings protest, as far as I know, is only today. I don't think they're doing protests anymore, but I will still link No Kings to everyone. But you can also go take a look at the BLOP, which is the big list of protests that is constantly getting updated with protests all over the country. And there is protesting is peacefully is key. All right. So make sure that you bring with you, when you do protest, you bring with you water, you bring with you snacks and food, you bring with you, you wear face coverings, so bring your meds. If you decide to bring your cell phone, make sure that your cell phone does not have Face ID or fingerprint recognition. Make sure it is on password only. Bring protective goggles and shatter-resistant glasses for the tear gas. Make sure that you are wearing all black and nothing that can be tracked back to you. So take supplies that you can use to remove chemical irritants. So face coverings, milk for magnesia, towelettes, no emergency contact numbers by heart. Don't put them on your phone. And make sure that your loved ones know where you will be, how you will get there, what to do in emergency, and when you decide to come back. Also keep aware of your environment. Have a physical map with you of where you're going. Make sure that you have multiple routes planned out to get in and out of the area. And if an emergency occurs and you are with other people, make sure that you have set a rally point for you to go if something happens. And that point should be outside of the protest area. Also, keep an eye out on everybody else. Maintain situational awareness. Know what's going around you at all times. Be alert for anything that seems suspicious. So unclaimed packages, vehicles. Keep an eye out too on the police. If they look like they're starting to surround the area, that means they're getting ready for mass arrests. If that happens, what they will do is they will start by blocking off the area in front and to the sides. The safest place to go is to turn around and walk away in the direction that you came. So we also have the OODA loop, which is observe, orient, decide, and act. So observe, identify the source of danger of your surroundings, determine where you are and where you need to go, decide, choose a course of action that minimizes risks, and de-escalates any situation, and implement your decision and stay away from changes in the environment. And when you're protesting, monitor the crowd. So observe, monitor the crowds, police presence, and signs of escalation. Orient, compare to your prior protest experience and analyze the next steps. Decide, choose whether to stay, reposition, or leave, and then act. So move quickly and reassess immediately. And when de-escalating the situation, make sure you're always prepared to do that. Stay calm and keep your voice steady. Maintain an open posture. Avoid provocative behavior, and if necessary, walk away. And again, we need these protests to stay civil. They need to stay nonviolent, because any violence that occurs, a dictatorship will use and is an excuse to put in a military crackdown. That's what they're looking for right now, is they're looking for an excuse to get violent on their own. So do not give it to them. Stay calm, stay focused, and peaceful. Your goal is to make a point, not to provoke. Don't engage in agitators, and respect other protesters' space and safety, and obey all lawful orders. And remember, you have a right to maintain silence. You have a right to remain silent, and keep that. If the police detain you, lawyer up. Don't answer questions, lawyer up. So anything illegal, don't bring anything illegal that can be seen as a weapon. Don't bring contact lenses, because the tear gas can trap all that chemicals in there. Don't bring anything valuable. If you're confronted or detained, stay calm and respectful. Do not resist, arrest, or escalate the situation. Clearly state that you wish to remain silent and you want a lawyer, and do not explain or negotiate. Document everything as well. Get that camera up. If you are in public, you have a right to record everything. They cannot stop you. And then share the footage as well. If you can, live stream it. And if they detain you, seek legal support. So there's all that. I have notes, in case y'all are wondering. I do have notes. But the protesting is just the start, though. Once a protest is done, use the chance, actually during the protest, use that chance to get in contact with the organizers. See what they want you to do, because oftentimes they have organizations that you can go and continue to maintain activism and continue to get your voices heard. A protest is just the start. It is a way to get your voice heard in a massive way, in a very visible way, but it's just the beginning. So keep in touch with the protesters, keep in touch with the local organizations, and, you know, just be active. However, there are many, like myself, who cannot protest. So those who can't protest, what can we do then? Well, we have representatives. They have phones. So 5 calls will tell you who your local representative is, and and it is time to bully them with phone calls. It's time to make sure that their voicemail inboxes are full, that they know who you are, that you are a voter and what you care about. If you don't call, though, we have ResistBot, which will help you email all of your local representatives. So call them, write them, go to their offices if you can and speak to them directly. Spread information about protests, spread information about what the dictatorship is doing, and also spot misinformation and make sure everyone knows what the misinformation is, and that it is in fact misinformation. A good example is the LA riots. The Fox News was showing police cars on fire. Those police cars, that footage is like 8 years old. There were no police cars on fire. And they were saying it's a riot. The LA protests are not a riot, they are a protest. You can also donate. So there's a lot of organizations out there like Churla that you can donate to. which is designed to help immigrants. There are many local organizations as well in your area that are helping immigrants in your communities. You can also print out the red cards and make sure that everyone, and red cards are basically know your rights. So these cards will tell immigrants what their rights are. There's a bunch of them in various different languages, 39 languages actually, that you can spread and give to various different immigrants, so that if they get picked up, they know what they can do, they know what they can't do. And if they are detained or deported, you should also know your rights inside your home and outside your home, and make sure that everybody else does too. So here is a link to that. So if you're inside your home, you can, and law enforcement rolls up, you stay calm, you stay silent, don't mention where you were born or how you entered the US if you're an immigrant. You record every detail and names. Make sure you get badge numbers. Do not run away. Ask to speak to your lawyer before signing any documents or answering any questions. If you do speak, do not lie. Unless they have a warrant signed by a judge to search your home, they are not allowed inside your home. Don't open the door either, because what they'll do is they'll try to shove their foot into the door, and if you close the door on their foot, they can then arrest you for attacking an officer. So if you are outside your home, stay calm, remain silent. Honestly, it's the same things, is remain silent, record details and names, do not run away, ask to speak to your lawyer before signing anything. Also, keep in mind, there are a lot of people now who are also pretending to be ICE and are using that to kidnap people and kidnap women. So if ICE does approach you, even if they are in plain clothes, you can legally ask them to identify themselves and get a badge number. If they refuse to identify themselves, call 911. And don't go with them. Do not go with them. And as well, if they do come up to you too, one thing that you can ask as well is, are you being detained? If they are not, if they say no, you can ask if you are free to leave. If they say no, repeat, rinse and repeat. Am I being detained? Am I free to leave? If you are being detained, ask for your lawyer and say no more. I'm not a lawyer, by the way, so I guess I can't officially give you legal advice, but this is stuff that I have looked up. Look up your local area rights. Look it up too, like what your rights are in your local area, because things do change from state to state, county to county. So make sure that you're aware of that too. Another thing that you can do as well is donate to your local NPR station. Donate to bail funds. People who get arrested during protests are often can't afford their bail, so you can donate to them to help get them out of jail so they're not sitting and rotting. You can offer shelter to those who are protesting. So if they're protesting in the area and need some place to rest, or if they are traveling, you can offer shelter to them. You can bring them food and water and various supplies to the protesters. So go to your local Walmart or just grocery store and buy food and water in large amounts, or donate to those who are doing that. And most importantly, vote, because voting is what got us into this mess. Voting the dictator into office is what got us here. Voting the fascists into office is what is the reason why we're struggling now. So go out and vote. Research your candidate. See what everyone is saying about them. Find non-partisan sources, third-party sources. See what they say about the candidates. Don't just listen to the news. research and vote, because that's what's gonna get us out. And I suppose that's all I have to say on this matter. So remember, no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Don't know if anyone else... I guess I can invite other people to say what they want to say at the moment. If there's anything anyone wants to add to this. But I have said my piece. I have gone through all my notes. I have a whole freaking document. But this is, like I said, this is what I wanted to do today. I can't go out physically, but I can spread all this information. I can make sure that everyone is aware. If you are able to go out and protest, I'm sure a lot of the No Kings protests are still going on. And otherwise, go donate. Exactly. No kings. No kings, see head fan. I always raid at the end of streams, but I don't feel like it's appropriate to do that here. So I think if no one wants to add anything, I think I might just end the stream here. I'm tired. I'm tired, but this was important. This was important. Thank you all as well for joining me, for listening to me sit on my soapbox here, and for being a part of the stream. And I appreciate all of you coming here today. Bye, everyone. Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. No, this one. There.
We are the movement, liberation movement for every single human. We have come to win. We are the movement, liberation movement for every single human. We have come to win.